The jaguar is regarded as the lord of the Amazon rainforest. But even it has places it dares not recklessly step into. One wrong decision, and the hunt instantly switches roles. And very few get the chance to correct that mistake. On the chest of the jaguar, draped along a branch by the river, stands out a scar. That mark curves around the rib cage rather than running straight. It is a constriction wound left by a colossal body that once coiled around it to the point of suffocation. In all the Amazon, only one creature is powerful enough to leave such a mark. But that wound is not where today's story begins. It all actually started on a quiet morning by that familiar stretch of river. As usual, the jaguar leaves its branch and follows the water's edge in search of its first prey. Climbing trees, swimming, and hunting are all this creature's specialties. The early sunlight falls across the small tributary amid the dense forest. On the wet mud along the bank stands out a drag mark running along the water's edge. The jaguar silently follows that trail with the patience of a seasoned hunter. Caimans, basking in the morning sun, are a familiar meal for it. Up ahead, a spectacled caiman less than 2 meters long lies motionless on the mudflat. The early day sun is only now beginning to warm its body. The jaguar lowers its body and creeps in through the grass along the bank. When the distance is close enough, it instantly springs toward the basking prey. In a single precise lunge, the jaguar's powerful jaws clamp shut over the top of the caiman's skull. It is the bite that made this creature's name. Instead of choking the throat like many other cats, the jaguar ends the hunt with a bite through the skull. The caiman quickly goes still on the grass. And yet that prey was too small for a body weighing nearly 100 kilos. The meal is over, but the hunger has not eased at all. On a larger branch of the river not far off, a dark-colored body lies basking on a sandbank. Its size is nearly double that of the prey just brought down. It is a full-grown black caiman, the largest crocodilian in the Americas, exceeding 5 meters in length. It is entirely different from the spectacled caiman of the morning. But the too-easy hunt from before is still fresh in the jaguar's mind. From where it looks across, the thing on the sand is just a larger caiman. Without a moment's hesitation, the jaguar plunges into the water and swims straight toward the sandbank on the other side. Its swimming ability has always helped it reach even prey in the water. The instant it sets foot on the sand, the jaguar accelerates and charges straight at the black caiman. The point it aims for is still the familiar spot in the middle of the skull top. But this time the two fangs only skid hard across the thick bone, unable to pierce through. The very same bite, and the result is completely reversed. The black caiman instantly swings its massive tail in a powerful sideways strike. The blow flings the jaguar off its back and hurls it hard down onto the wet sand. Not missing the chance, the caiman whips around with blinding speed and gapes its colossal jaws wide. The rows of sharp teeth instantly turn toward the jaguar before it can even rise. It keeps driving the jaguar back toward the deep water's edge, where every advantage belongs to it. It only needs to drag its opponent into the water, and the tide of the fight will turn completely. Seizing the instant the caiman falters, the jaguar escapes the reach of the jaws and plunges into the water. It swims with all its strength to return to the forest bank on the far side. Reaching the bank, its shoulder and flank now bear several fresh marks. A single difference in size was enough to reverse the entire encounter. The technique that had brought down its prey that morning is now useless. The same species of prey, but that thicker skull changed everything. 2 hunts in a row have ended unfinished, and the hunger is still not filled. The jaguar leaves the riverbank and moves deep into the forest, where it feels more confident. Moving deep into the leaf-littered forest floor, the jaguar catches a familiar scent on the midday breeze. It is the trail of a herd of peccaries that has just passed through. The white-lipped peccary carries sharp tusks and a body large enough to make a worthwhile meal. For the still hungry jaguar, that opportunity is very hard to pass up. It presses itself behind a large trunk and silently watches the whole herd drawing near. It only needs one to break away to the fringe, and the hunt will begin. Just as a male walks right past the base of the tree, the jaguar suddenly springs from its hiding place. The precise pounce instantly pins the prey down onto the leaf litter. Its jaws clamp hard into the top of the skull and quickly end the hunt. The technique that skidded off on the sand earlier now works to its full specialty. Even so, the peccary manages one short cry before it collapses. That sound quickly reaches the ears of the whole herd not far away. In just seconds, the whole herd wheels around all at once and charges back toward the source of the cry. For this species, strength always lies in staying together. Hundreds of pounding steps surge across the leaf litter, carrying countless tusks aimed straight at the jaguar. The quiet patch of forest instantly shudders violently. No longer trying to keep its prey, the jaguar immediately lets go and leaps straight up the nearest trunk. To face the whole peccary herd on the ground would only put it at a disadvantage. Below, the peccary herd quickly closes the space around the base of the tree. Their frenzied cries ring through the forest like a warning. A single peccary can become a jaguar's meal. But when the whole herd gathers, even the strongest in the forest must deliberately withdraw. More than half an hour later, the peccary herd finally leaves the spot. When it climbs down to the ground, all it finds is a bit of hair and a few bone fragments trampled into the leaf litter. 3 hunts in a row have all ended in failure, and the hunger has still not eased. It resigns itself to seeking a small pool to quench its thirst before sunset. The pool lies hidden beneath a dense canopy, its surface covered in leaf litter, pitch dark, and almost without a single ripple. That very stillness makes everything harder to predict. It lowers its head to drink mouthful after mouthful, all four legs still braced firm on the damp mud along the bank. Experience has never allowed it to be careless, even for a single moment. Right beneath the black water covering the submerged roots is a body over 7 meters long, coiled motionless. The anaconda has patiently lain in wait there for a long time. With not a single ripple to warn it, the colossal body suddenly wraps tight around the jaguar's ribcage. In just an instant, each breath is squeezed slowly shut. The jaguar thrashes and drags its body up out of the water's edge. The anaconda still squeezes tight around the jaguar's neck, trying to pull it back to the water's edge. The jaguar thrashes violently and claws hard again and again at its opponent's head and neck. Those fierce blows of resistance finally make the coil slacken. Seizing that brief instant, it pours all its strength into wrenching its body free and lunges out of the coils. The anaconda slowly slithers back to coil itself up in the dark pool as though it had never moved. It does not give chase, for that patch of water was already the perfect trap. On the jaguar's golden coat, a red streak still stands out clearly, curving around the ribcage. That constriction mark will stay with it for a long time after the encounter. Throughout the Amazon, every layer of space has a ruler of its own. The jaguar masters the forest floor, but descend into the deep water and the power belongs to another. In the Amazon, strength does not belong to the one who always defeats every opponent. It belongs to the one who knows its own limits and leaves before every chance at life disappears. Early sun covers the grassland. A male lion lies gasping on the verge of death. From where it lies, a long drag mark is imprinted, as if that body was just hauled some distance. Not far away are dense elephant footprints, each as wide as a serving platter. Strangely, only the lion's tracks lead toward the elephant herd, no other prints visible anywhere. Truth is, a male lion dying after recklessly confronting giants isn't uncommon. What kills them usually isn't weakness, but misjudging their own stature. And it all began yesterday afternoon, when the ill-fated one was still roaming alone. Instead of being wary, it fixed a provocative gaze on the massive elephant herd in the distance. Since leaving its pride, it had consecutively brought down slow-aging prey. Once it even brazenly seized a carcass right under a solitary hyena's muzzle. With each prey that fell, the illusion of its own strength added another layer. It forgot it was only a growing creature, mistakenly believing itself already master of this land. Before it, the elephant herd slowly crossed by. Young ones nestled, crowded in the middle. A seasoned hunter would have moved away, but not this one, eyes locked on the smallest calf. Then it walks straight toward the elephant herd like a solitary figure marching into an army. Steps steady, eyes glued to the young one, it ignored the massive mother elephant standing right beside. Lion launched toward the young elephant standing isolated at the edge. Mother elephant immediately spun around, but it didn't retreat at all. stubbornly holding its ground with blind confidence. Mother elephant pivoted, one pillar-thick foot came straight down onto the lion's back. Tons of weight crushing down made its body sink deep into earth, spine-shattering vertebra by vertebra. Done, the elephant herd calmly stepped onward, leaving the carcass behind without bothering to look back. Sometimes self-delusion is precisely what sends an animal to its grave fastest. But power delusion is only the first dark corner of animal psychology. Not far away, two cheetahs of the same bloodline and age carry completely opposite fates. The first named Coco, wearing gleaming sleek fur, belly round and full after a hunt. It chews slowly, gaze calm, because no fear has ever accompanied its meals. Complete opposite is Ghost, gaunt to the bone, rough coat, also just brought down prey. Yet it can't eat in peace. Every time it lowers its head, it immediately snaps back up, eyes darting everywhere. Just then, afternoon wind carried a string of hoarse laughter from afar. That hyena pack had not at all spotted the two cheetahs or scented the meat. They were only calling each other out there. Coco only flicked an ear briefly, then lowered back to chewing, unconcerned by distant sounds. But Ghost, hearing exactly that sound, had already sprung up, abandoning the entire meal, eyes flooded with fear. Without hesitation, Ghost bolted away, leaving the prey it just brought down lying on the grass. It went a full kilometer away, though the hyenas were in the opposite direction, not approaching at all. Right as it fled, muscles tensed on Ghost's shoulder, old wounds clearly visible. Those are traces of a terrifying prey theft from the previous year, imprinting obsession into its mind. This was the third time this season it abandoned a meal because of vague sounds. Hunts well, but rarely gets to eat full, because every meal for it hovers with lurking danger. Sure enough, a lone hyena sauntered over, leisurely consuming the portion Ghost left behind. It was more than capable of chasing that one off, but wasn't foolish enough to trade its life for one bite. Eating its fill, Coco rolled over, sleeping soundly under the afternoon light lingering on the grass, while Ghost lay hollow-bellied, curled far away, bitterly watching the hyena take the final bite. Same bloodline, equal in build, yet fate split in two by one single obsession. Just as the entire land sank into stillness, the east suddenly rang out with a long, mournful howl. That was a wild dog's howl, but not the signal calling the pack to hunt. Only the sound of one solitary one, weakening with each beat, the sound of one seeking its pack while no one answers. That young hunter stood stranded amid tall grass, ears raised, eyes sweeping around in panic. Just because it lingered a few minutes when the pack crossed the thicket, it had lost track of the entire family. Being a species almost entirely dependent on pack, wild dogs fear solitude greatly. The moment separated from kindred, its mind falls apart, unable to maintain clarity. So it bolted off in all directions, swerving one way, then cutting another without finding anyone. Those chaotic running circles didn't bring it back to the pack, only widened the distance. Calls grew fainter with the panicked creature's broken breathing. Ironically, on bare open grassland, those who heard it clearest were hunters rather than its own kind. Hearing those sounds, a lioness lying nearby immediately pricked ears. In her eyes, the young dog, stranded without pack protection, was no different from a meal delivering itself. It little knew every rescue call was inadvertently inviting death closer. In the western grass patch, a pale yellow shadow silently parted grass, advancing, smooth and utterly deadly. When the predator revealed itself fully, instead of bolting, it should have, young dog stood rooted. Extreme panic paralyzed its reflexes, turning it into a motionless statue. Hunter launched decisively. Everything ended in just one instant. Young one's life extinguished right on the grassland, only a few hundred meters from its own pack. As sun paled, the wild dog pack tracked signs, finding where the young one fell. After nuzzling the last fading warmth, they raised heads, howling a farewell. Farewell song not yet faded, earth beneath the dog pack's feet began trembling and rumbling. Not the footfall of elephants or lions, but seismic force from countless hooves. The entire northern horizon darkened to murky, seeming like clouds, yet being countless animal bodies. That was the great wildebeest migration flooding southward. Each year, over 2 million follow reins, wandering for new grassland. Blocking that journey is the Mara River, with its steep banks and lurking crocodiles. One leading individual stopped startled right at the steep bank, hesitating before a fierce current. Behind, the million following had no idea, kept pushing forward relentlessly, pressing them toward the edge. Weight from behind kept surging. Those at front didn't plunge in of their own will. They were shoved by kindred, while those doing the shoving were themselves pushed by the layer behind, impossible to hold back. One by one, they tumbled headlong off the rock bank, plunging headfirst 2 meters into the water. Then a second, third, then an entire long chain poured in one after another because those behind wouldn't stop. Momentarily, layer upon layer of animal bodies crashed down, tier stacking on tier. Those below suffocated under weight. Those just surfacing were immediately pushed under by the next arrival, river section resounding with bellowing. Below, the crocodile pack barely needed to expend effort hunting. Prey kept tumbling off the cliff face above, offering themselves right into gaping jaws, waiting ready. Cruelly ironic, right nearby was a gentle sloping bank leading gradually down to water. That spot was completely deserted, not one breaking from the flow to go there, because the frenzy had swept everything away. Entire herd reaching the riverbed struggled climbing up the other side, but that was also a steep reverse slope. Hemmed in between two sheer cliff faces, they trampled over kindred, finding no way out. Only much later did the migration flow thin out, last one splashing across, then reaching the far bank. The cruel truth was, most death today came from crushing and trampling, not at all from the reptiles below. Despite the stretch of river left in chaos behind, surviving animals continued south. Behind, another million creatures were advancing, the next day again converging on the same old cliff edge. Evening descends, Mara River flows slow, well-fed crocodiles lie savoring. On the bank, vultures pick at portions, waves washed in, water quietly carries surplus downriver. On the cliff face, morning's hoof-mark gouges still hold their impressions. Water below has settled crystal clear, yet to the north, dust clouds already billow, signaling a new wave of migration. At the gentler bank nearby, zebra herd leisurely lowers heads beside calm water. No one would guess this spot just this midday was still thundering hooves and bellowing wildebeest. But right beneath that clear water, a just satiated crocodile's eyes still quietly watch upward. It lies motionless, pressed near the water surface, gaze never leaving the muzzles dipping low. Before the burrow entrance, the puppies lie together. But behind that peaceful appearance are empty bellies and hunger growing larger by the hour. As the East African plain's smallest hunter, black-backed jackal lives in the gaps where lions, hyenas, or leopards always claim the decisive share. On the wide grassland, mother jackal leaves den, gliding light as a low shadow. She reads wind, traces signs, seeking the only thing that can save her pups, fresh meat. Weighing less than 15 kilograms, she's smaller than every hunter around her. But she cannot afford mistakes, because just one failure could end an entire generation. Few hundred meters away, mother warthog leads piglets digging roots on soft ground. Tiny young ones toddle around mother's legs, taking life's first steps. No hunter foolishly lunges at angry mother warthog with sharp tusks. But piglets less than a week old remain weakness that cannot be hidden. While foraging, she suddenly freezes. Head snaps up. Open grassland shows nothing suspicious, but uneasy instinct has made her whole body tense. Piglets still carefree foraging. They don't know in distant grass. A black back is slipping through grass, advancing, not hiding itself, but deliberately allowing detection. She advances close enough for scent to reach mother warthog's snout, and reaction as predicted. Mother warthog notices. Body stands firm, tusks open in defensive stance. Jackal advances just slow enough to always stay in mother warthog's sight. No reaction, no attack, only keeping prey's gaze locked forward. Mother warthog has fully turned back toward piglets. All attention focused on opponent ahead. Breathing becomes more rapid. Behind, grass stirs slightly in rhythm, not belonging to wind. Two black shadows leap from behind, swift and precise, as if rehearsed 1,000 times. Before piglets can cry out, each jaw has snatched one prey, then vanished into grass sea. Mother warthog spins around, seeing piglets diminished. Tiny cries, completely swallowed in tall grass. She chases few steps, then freezes. Jackal's scent has dispersed in all directions. She returns to flattened grass trace where piglets were just stolen. Snout touches still damp earth, moves around briefly. Search has ended before it could begin. Before burrow entrance, jackal pups fight over meat mother just brought back. Hungry whimpers turn into hurried chewing, adding bit of life force to young bodies. But that's not enough to feed entire growing litter. Mother jackal looks at still hollow bellies, then turns back toward grassland, leaving behind unfinished cries for food. Entire pack heads west again, where mother warthog still remains. They hunt not to stockpile, but because pups in den still wait for more food. By now, mother warthog has hidden remaining piglets in dense grass clump. Little ones nestle nursing. She lies beside, trying to regain strength after hours of tension. Grassland gradually settles. Wind only carries dry grass scent and hot earth. No more signs of predators that just appeared earlier. Then grass ahead stirs slightly off wind's rhythm. Behind also stirs in same pattern. Mother warthog jumps up, recognizing encirclement has closed around her. Jackal pack doesn't charge in again. After first success, they've learned hardest thing to overcome isn't Mother warthog's tusks, but her position beside piglets. One steps out from low grass, then stands blocking ahead. It doesn't circle away like previous times, but deliberately holds position in Mother warthog's sight. Mother warthog immediately charges forward. For her, driving predator away from piglets always safer than waiting for danger to approach. Jackal flees, not too fast for Mother warthog to give up, nor too slow to be caught. It maintains exact distance that hunting instinct cannot easily ignore. Mother warthog accelerates. Each time seemingly about to touch, Jackal edges few more meters away. Chase continues across increasingly wider grass spans. Then she suddenly freezes. Where are the piglets? Grass clump where they hid now only has young warthogs running. Jackal still continues running ahead, but this time, Mother warthog no longer chases. Sudden unease grips her mind tightly. She turns, charging back, and right then, from distance rings out piercing shriek of one piglet, then second sounds. Cries continue rising, then fading, one after another. Distance just stretched now becomes something Mother warthog cannot overcome. She sprints full speed across grassland. Dust kicks up after each stride, but each time, she always arrives one beat slower than Jackal pack. Returning to shelter, only one remains huddled under Mother's belly. Around it, flattened grass trails spread every direction like traces of just completed plunder. Only now does Mother warthog understand Jackal pack's tactics. They never intended to bring her down, only lured her away, letting distance itself finish off each piglet. But hunt isn't over yet. Remaining piglet suddenly loses composure, bolts from grass clump, charging straight into open ground ahead. One jackal immediately chases, each stride shortening distance. Young one too small and too slow, while Mother warthog too far to save in time. Jaws only handspan from small tail. Everything seems settled. Then from behind, heavy snort tears through air. Mother warthog charges like furious mass of flesh, pouring last remaining strength into the gore. Tusks hurl nearest jackal flying. Entire pack startle scattering. Hunter suddenly becomes the struck. Lead male freezes, watching Mother warthog spin within encirclement without retreating. Her eyes no longer fearful, only ferocity of one with nothing left to lose. Piglet runs back, hastily burrows into Mother's belly. Mother warthog points tusks, slowly turns body shielding, making Jackal pack standing distant, not dare risk further. Finally, Jackal pack turns, leaving, this time for real. They run toward the den, each carrying one portion, bringing back to waiting pups. Before burrow entrance, jackal pups again rush out competing for food, bellies gradually filling. Mother jackal lies beside, breathing tired, long hunt traded for entire litter's fullness. While west, mother warthog leads final piglet away from grass field. Morning's crowded litter now only one small shadow staying close at her feet. Two families leave grassland in two directions. One side carries food, other side carries what remains of litter. Black-backed jackals aren't as strong as lions or hyenas. They survive through coordination, patience, and ability to turn small opportunities into large advantages. While warthogs endure through stamina and ferocity. When pushed to limit, even one mother can turn entire hunt around. These are two very different strategies, but both honed by same pressure: survival on East African plains. Here, hunters and prey continuously shape each other. Each successful tactic forces the other side to adapt better. Therefore, no species keeps advantage forever. Each surviving day is just one small win in game lasting across many generations. And when dawn returns, that race will continue. On this grassland, life belongs to those adapted enough to keep walking. In the scorching semi-desert, a pit viper lies motionless on a rock. Two heat-sensing pits between its eyes and nostrils continuously scanning the environment around it. In its world, every warm-blooded creature appears as a moving point of light against the cool stone. Mice, lizards, and ground-foraging birds alike. A mouse steps out from a thorn bush about 30 centimeters away, completely silent. But the faint heat radiating from its body is already clearly visible in the predator's sensory system. The snake strikes with blinding speed, fangs driving precisely into the mouse's neck before the prey even has time to realize when it was first detected. The venom begins breaking down the prey's tissue from the inside. By the time the snake swallows, decomposition has already run ahead of the stomach. As swallowing begins, the snake's flexible jaw gradually widens to draw the entire mouse body inward in slow but precise alternating contractions. But heat sensing is not the only way snakes dominate the ground. Elsewhere, a giant hunts using nothing but muscle and patience sustained over hours. In the dry season, beside a river, most of the African rock python's body lies submerged in the mud at the water's edge, exposing only its eyes as it waits quietly for prey to draw near. A herd of impala slowly approaches the waterline. One female separates from the group and lowers her head to drink right at the edge of the mud, the exact spot where the python has been lying in ambush all morning. The mud surface explodes as the python launches upward, its backward curving teeth locking onto the prey's neck, while rings of muscle instantly coil around the ribcage, completely suppressing any movement. No crushing of bones, no tearing of flesh, It simply locks down each breath in turn until the impala goes still and the water's edge sinks back into silence. The python widens its jaws and alternately draws each section of the impala's body into its stomach over nearly an hour before lying motionless to digest over the following weeks. The python slides into the water, half submerged, eyes closed. Powerful stomach acid will dissolve bones, horn, and hooves, but this requires days of total stillness, and that is also the moment of greatest vulnerability. Across the savanna, not every snake needs to crush its prey to death. Some need only a single bite for neurotoxic venom to complete the rest of the hunt. The black mamba, nearly 3 meters long, with extreme speed on the ground and enough venom to kill animals many times its own size. This afternoon, a mamba is moving through low grass when a secretary bird spots it and blocks its path with thick-scaled legs built for hunting snakes. The mamba immediately raises its head and opens its characteristically black mouth, while the secretary bird slowly circles just outside striking range, forcing its opponent to constantly pivot to track it. The mamba suddenly strikes forward, but the bird sidesteps and delivers a thundering kick to the fully extended body. The mamba strikes again, this time low and close to the ground, targeting the unscaled thigh of the secretary bird. Its fangs find their mark, causing the bird to recoil, its steps beginning to falter. The secretary bird gradually withdraws from the confrontation and turns to leave, the first time it has chosen to retreat. The mamba lowers its head and glides away in the opposite direction, letting the venom complete the rest. But not every confrontation with a mamba ends cleanly. This morning, a brown eagle nearly paid with its life after letting a black mamba coil tight around its wing. The mamba could not find an angle to bite through the thick neck feathers. It loosens its coils to reposition, and the eagle immediately seizes the opening, wings beating erratically as it breaks free from the ground. Those are 3 capabilities that snakes have evolved to dominate the ground. But evolution did not stop there. In the tropical rainforest of Southeast Asia, one species has left the ground behind entirely. Tropical rainforest blanketed in dense leaf canopy and heat rising from the warm earth below. On a branch 30 meters up, a slender green body lies motionless in the light filtering through the canopy. The flying snake has no wings and no gliding membrane, but when it launches from a branch, its body flattens, beflattens, and spreads wide, then glides through the open air like a living ribbon through the ancient forest. 10 meters, then 15 meters, it glides between canopy layers without touching the ground, faster than climbing and safer than descending into a world full of predators below. Landing on a branch, the flying snake coils itself, flicks its tongue to pick up scent, then follows a lizard through the canopy, a race between wingless creatures. But whether hunting by gliding, constricting, or striking, every snake faces the same challenge: swallowing prey whole and intact without hands to tear it apart or teeth to chew. Beyond hunting, snakes possess another trait rarely found elsewhere in the animal kingdom: shedding their entire old skin in a single piece from head to tail. Rubbing its head against rough rock and then pushing forward, the old skin gradually inverts and peels back, revealing a fresh layer of bright new scales beneath. Shedding is not only about allowing the body to continue growing, it also eliminates parasites, bacteria, and accumulated damage, like a rebirth from within the old skin. In the days before shedding, they are nearly blind as the old skin covers their eyes, making the body sluggish and more vulnerable to attack than at any other time. For this reason, they typically hide in rock crevices, dark burrows, or hollow tree bases for many days at a stretch, until the old skin has fully slipped away and their eyes are ready for the next hunt. Heat sensing, constriction, venom injection, aerial gliding, swallowing prey whole, or shedding an entire skin. Any one of these abilities alone is enough for a snake to dominate its own environment. In the semi-desert, the pit viper still lies on the warm rock, waiting for the next heat signature. Farther on, the rock python with a belly stretched tight and heavy after its hunt. Elsewhere on the savanna, the black mamba has vanished into the low grass, while the flying snake continues to coil among the canopy of the tropical rainforest. On the dry rock, the shed skin lies behind like a final trace of one act of rebirth, before ants drag it away and it disappears entirely from nature. Over 3,000 species of snakes exist across nearly every continent. No legs, no wings, no external ears, yet older than most mammal species alive today. What they share is a body that never stops growing. After each shed, bones lengthen, muscles thicken, and the new version is always larger than before. The pit viper that hunts mice today will one day hunt rabbits. The mamba will eventually bring down an eagle in the next confrontation. Every living snake is a draft of a larger version to come. And somewhere on this planet, an egg has just cracked open, a forked tongue tasting the air for the first time before learning how to hunt and survive. Within a few weeks, it will strike for the first time, constrict for the first time, swallow for the first time. And if it survives the first year, the first shed skin will be smaller than a human hand. The final one may stretch longer than 5 meters. They leave behind no roar and no territory to assert their existence. Only shed skins as evidence that the body continues to grow after each act of survival. When the last ray of sunlight leaves the ground, the wind carries a thin, light snakeskin drifting across the grassland. It will tear and vanish, but the creature that shed it has already grown larger and is moving on toward the next hunt. There is a strange truth on the African grassland that few ever notice. The fastest creature on the planet must live on edge, eating in haste as though on the run. When the first light breaks, the ground is still cool with dew. A slender form glides through the grass. Far off, great golden masses are still lost in sleep. They share one grassland, yet the fates of these two are split apart by the sun. One rules when the day is bright, the other reigns when night falls, and neither trespasses on the other's share. The one who wakes before dawn is a solitary cheetah. 2 black lines run from the corners of its eyes down to its muzzle, like tears that never dry. It must strike right now while the ground is still cool and the thieves haven't yet woken. For a cheetah, just a few degrees of temperature can decide victory or defeat. Flattening itself in the tall grass, it narrows its eyes on the distracted prey. Step by step, it closes the distance, while the whole herd of gazelle remains utterly unaware. Suddenly, bursting into a sprint, it takes just 3 seconds to reach 110 kilometers per hour. Its forepaw hooks the gazelle's flank, slamming the prey down before clamping the throat until it goes limp. Yet even with the prey gone still, the hunter still cannot touch it. That sprint has burned through all its oxygen, forcing it to lie collapsed and panting for 10 full minutes. And that thick, pungent scent drifts on the morning breeze, guiding others to the spot. It eats in haste, racing against time, lifting its head again and again to glance around in worry. That worry soon becomes reality. From the grass to the north, 3 gray shapes with hulking humped shoulders trudge toward the carcass, tracing the scent of blood on the wind. These are 3 hyenas, brazen scavengers that don't even bother to stalk. The cheetah's head jerks up at once, its gaze wavering between the prey and the uninvited guests. It dares not risk fighting to keep it, and can only turn its back and walk away in regret. With such a fragile body, a single small wound would mean the end of its whole hunting life. The 3 thieves calmly dig into the leftover meat, gorging without a shred of caution. A stretch away, the cheetah stands helpless, its belly still hollow, blood still lingering at the corner of its mouth. The sun now hangs high, drying the last drops of dew. For the cheetah, the rising heat is the bell marking time's end, closing off every chance to hunt. It slinks off to the nearest acacia, sinking down into the rare patch of shade. Through the sweltering noon to come, the savanna will fall silent, waiting for the night shift to begin. By midday, the sun beats down like fire, heat shimmering up in waves. The cheetah dozes beneath the tree, the hyenas hide in their dens, and the whole land lies still and waiting. Right beneath a dense thicket far off, 4 great golden masses still lie motionless. These are the lionesses, several times the size of the cheetah, deep in sleep since early morning. They sleep away the entire day, waiting only for nightfall to begin the hunt. To make up for their heavy, slow bodies, they have overwhelming strength and a coordinated pack style of hunting. As the sun sinks lower and the heat begins to fade, the great bodies finally stir. One by one, they rise sluggishly, stretch and yawn wide, baring their cold, sharp fangs. They have gone hungry since the day before, when the last hunt ended in failure. Their hollow bellies now make these hunters all the more reckless and merciless. Their first task is to drink at the dry stream, then stroll leisurely along the edge of their domain. Now and then they pause to claw at tree trunks, leaving scent marks to declare the land has an owner. Crossing the grassland, they come upon a herd of buffalo grazing at ease. But the whole pride only stands and watches in no hurry to act because the sky is still light. They wait patiently for the dark when the buffalo's eyes become nearly useless. A lion's eyes have a reflective layer that turns even the faintest light into a deadly advantage. Then the sun dies out behind the tree line, the golden grass turning gray before sinking into the dark. Beneath the young moon, pairs of eyes flicker faintly, cold and full of killing intent. Under the moonlight, the golden shapes slide smoothly across the grass. About 100 meters off, the buffalo stand clustered at rest, only a few distracted eyes still keeping watch. They split into 2 directions, silently circling the prey, in an invisible pincer. Their target is an old buffalo standing apart at the edge, its hind legs already trembling and weakened by the years. The leader crouches down 10 meters from the target, waiting patiently. Luck is with them. The night wind blows from the prey toward the hunters, so the victim cannot catch their scent. Suddenly, the whole pride lunges out as one, dark shapes converging from every side. The old buffalo startles awake, but in the darkness, it cannot tell how many are rushing in. The leader springs onto the broad back, gripping tight with all four legs. The prey thrashes and twists to shake it off, but another has already closed in, sinking its teeth into the throat. The struggle wakes the whole herd, hundreds of heads turning in confusion toward the chaos. In the pitch-black night, they cannot tell their own kind from the hunters. Suddenly, a massive bull buffalo charges straight into the melee with all its might. A thunderous ram flings the third lioness away, sending it sprawling with a roar of pain. Not stopping there, it wheels around to land another blow on the one just downed. But in the black night, its horns only graze the lioness's body by a hair, missing that life or death gap. The struggle drags on through the thick darkness, dust rising to blur the moonlight. Lion shapes and buffalo shapes blur together, until it's impossible to tell hunter from prey. But aging strength cannot hold out forever. The animal buckles at the knees and topples over. The hunters instantly clamp down on its neck and muzzle, tightening until the victim stops thrashing. The rest of the herd, once the cries fall silent, gradually drift away. One by one, they turn their backs into the darkness, abandoning their ill-fated companion behind them. The whole pride feasts at ease beneath the moonlight. Unlike the cheetah at dawn, the night has become an ally for these pack hunters. Yet even the midnight feast is not left in peace. From the grass to the east, hoarse, rasping laughter echoes closer and closer. It's a pack of 8 hyenas, slinking out from the thick darkness. They circle in an arc at the edge of the kill, greedy eyes locked onto the meat before them. Each time the diners bow their heads, the waiting pack quietly creeps a few steps closer. They need no confrontation, only the patience to wait for those bellies to fill. Once full, the big cats sluggishly wander off in search of a place to rest. That's all the scavengers were waiting for. They surge in at once, fighting over whatever remains. With some of the strongest jaws around, they crunch clean through even the hard bones. On a nearby acacia branch, several dark shapes still perch motionless, patiently waiting their turn. These are the vultures, ones who only begin their day when the sun comes up. And so, around a single carcass, each species follows a biological rhythm all its own. The eastern sky pales, turning from black to gray, then blushing pink. The first light of morning spreads across the grassland, laying bare the buffalo's skeleton and the scavengers picking it clean. As the sun rises, the vultures swoop down to gather what's left after the hyena's meal. In the distant thicket, the 4 lions have closed their eyes, sinking into their daytime sleep. At that same moment, on the dew-soaked grass to the east, A slender form slowly rises to its feet. Still with those two black lines beneath its eyes, it stretches wearily and gazes out over the plain. A few hundred meters away, 4 lions sleep buried beneath the acacia, bellies full of buffalo. Right near them, a fresh herd of antelope grazes carefree on the dewy young grass. It lowers itself once more, the muscles in its hind legs drawing taut. Its eyes fix on a gazelle grazing carefree in the dew, its whole body dead still, waiting for the instant to launch. And on the acacia branch to the south, a vulture has already quietly taken its perch. Its eyes trace down over the grassland, patiently awaiting the outcome of the chase to come. At midday, the Namibian desert sinks into scorching heat. The air shimmers above the sand, and most creatures have already withdrawn into shade. But just beneath that seemingly still surface, a world of hunting continues without pause, where death arrives in ways no one anticipates. Look at that flat expanse of sand. It is concealing a perfect trap, a small round trapdoor covered in sand and silk, perfectly camouflaged within the desert. Directly beneath that door, a trapdoor spider waits in silent ambush. From the burrow entrance, countless fine threads radiate outward, turning the surrounding sand into an invisible sensing net. A cricket wanders off course and touches a thread. A split second later, the trapdoor snaps open. The spider launches out and seizes the prey, then drags it straight underground, faster than a blink. In the dark burrow, venom seeps into the cricket's body and gradually liquefies everything inside. The spider then simply sucks out the contents and leaves behind an empty shell. That is death arriving quietly from within. But nearby, another hunter chooses a far more blunt approach, ending prey through raw, unadorned force. A burrowing scorpion with pincers as wide as a thumb. It barely needs its venom. A cricket walks past, the pincers snap shut, and the chitin shell shatters. The exposed flesh is torn apart immediately by its mouth parts. Same prey brought down, but it and the spider represent two completely opposing methods of hunting. On the same patch of sand, one creature was liquefied from within and one was crushed from without. Two outcomes, and neither shows any mercy. At the smallest scale, venom and strength are evenly matched. But as size increases, the two paths diverge further, and the price each hunter must pay grows heavier. That price is most visible in a Central American rainforest. Beneath shafts of sunlight filtering through the canopy, a pit viper lies coiled and still beneath dry leaves. A forest mouse picks through the undergrowth, nose close to the ground searching for seeds. Every tiny vibration travels up through the branches, and the eyes above immediately lock on. The pit viper strikes in a flash. Hollow fangs drive deep, pump venom, and release instantly. The mouse lurches upright and bolts through the leaf litter, believing it has escaped. But the venom has already spread silently through the body, destroying tissue. After a few more steps, the mouse staggers and collapses. Only now does the pit viper calmly follow the scent trail. Strike and release. That method saves energy. But right in this same forest, another hunter brings down prey the opposite way, by holding and never letting go. In the dense, dark, damp forest understory, a boa constrictor lies coiled. It carries no venom, but those muscular coils are enough to suffocate any prey. A mouse forges its way closer to the tree root, where the boa lies hidden. The moment the prey enters range, the boa launches like a spring and wraps tight around it. That method of constriction costs more energy, but leaves the mouse almost no chance at all. The boa swallows the prey whole right there, no need to follow a scent trail. Two hunters, two different bets. One trusts an invisible venom, the other trusts the coils of its own body. And the price each pays is nothing alike. At the middle scale, venom and strength each carry their own cost. But if the two were forced to face each other, who would remain standing? The answer is waiting in Africa. Here, nature places two extremes side by side. On one side, venom potent enough to kill a large animal. On the other, strength capable of hauling a carcass up a tree. At the edge of the East African savanna, late afternoon, a cobra more than 2 meters long glides quietly through low grass, head slightly raised, tongue continuously flickering to probe the air. In a tree 10 meters away, a leopard opens its eyes, the powerful shoulders tightening under the spotted coat. It has just spotted the shadow moving below. The cobra stops, raises half its body, and spreads its hood wide. That threat display has made many large mammals hesitate, but the leopard continues to press closer in silence. The first strike drives straight forward. The leopard tilts aside and sweeps a paw hard across the snake's body. The fangs only manage to sink into the grass. The second time, the venomous head snaps forward like a spring. The leopard immediately leaps back. When striking, the snake is extremely fast, but changing direction is always slower than a four-legged opponent. After only a few exchanges, the leopard has already identified that weakness. It keeps circling to the side, each step pressing closer behind the snake's head, beyond the reach of the fangs. Suddenly, the snake spits venom straight at the leopard's eyes. The leopard tilts its head just in time. The spray grazes past the ear and falls onto the grass. But every missed spit drains the snake's venom reserve. The next time, a portion of the venom catches the leopard's muzzle. The leopard jerks its head, eyes squeezing shut, staggering back several steps. The snake immediately seizes the upper hand. The snake rears again. The leopard seizes the opening and drives in, pinning its head to the ground. But in that same instant, the fangs also manage to sink deep into a paw. The struggle ends only when a dry crack of breaking bone sounds. The snake's body goes limp, but the last of its venom has already entered the leopard's bloodstream. Leaving the snake's body in the grass, the leopard walks on, but the venom is already destroying its body from within, and it collapses. The leopard falls. Its chest rises and falls more slowly with every breath, its eyes seeing nothing now, only the distant sound of buffalo carrying faintly to its ears. Venom overcomes strength. Strength overcomes venom. But the next creature is entirely different. Nothing sharp can penetrate it, and no drop of venom can seep into it. An East African riverbank at dusk, murky water drifting slowly by. 2 meters from the bank, a Nile crocodile moves beneath the surface, only its eyes breaking the waterline. A herd of impala picks its way to the water's edge, stretching their necks and lowering their heads to drink. Beneath the flat surface, the long shadow is already moving toward the slender legs. The water explodes. The enormous jaws launch out of the mud, clamp onto a leg, and wrench the impala downward. It claws frantically, but it is already too late. The crocodile rolls beneath the water, trailing mud and white foam. The prey thrashes desperately in the murky current, then disappears completely beneath the surface. Not long after, the stretch of river returns to its familiar calm. The crocodile's eyes still float in the current, while the impala herd has already retreated far from the water's edge. In bodies as enormous as that, strength decides nearly everything. But nature is not built only from massive jaws and great blocks of muscle. In rock crevices, beneath leaf litter, or inside tunnels under the sand, there is another world entirely, where a single drop of venom can accomplish what muscle cannot. Beneath the sand, the spider still waits behind its silk door. The scorpion holds its pincers ready among the rocks, and the snake waits in darkness for the first signal from prey. On the grassland, the bodies of the leopard and cobra gradually become part of the savanna. Out on the river, the crocodile lies still, as though the battle of the afternoon never happened. From the smallest creatures beneath the earth to the giants ruling the waterways, every species carries its own weapon, sharpened across millions of years. And right now, somewhere out there, another hunt has already begun. One careless step, one very faint vibration, sometimes that is all it takes to decide life and death. A long-tailed macaque troop is picking fallen fruit around the base of a tree. One young monkey separates from the group, bending down to gnaw at soft bark, unaware that a nearby rotting log has just quietly opened its eyes. What seemed like an inanimate object suddenly rises into a Komodo dragon, driving straight toward the young monkey, biting its leg and immediately releasing, leaving only a small bleeding wound. An alarm call rings through the canopy. The entire troop leaps high into the branches, the young one struggling to climb with its injured leg. But strangely, the Komodo does not give chase. Instead, it returns to its original spot and lies down. The forked tongue flickers continuously, reading the scent on the wind, because for it, the hunt has only just begun. Concealed within that brief bite is an invisible weapon. The wound continues bleeding without stopping, and the prey's body begins weakening steadily from within. High in the branches, the young monkey still climbs and forages, as though it has escaped death. But directly below, the hunter simply lies still, following it silently by scent. The Komodo does not hunt through speed. It hunts through time. On these dry, scorching islands, patience is sometimes more dangerous than strength. But not every predator has that kind of patience. In another wetland, there is a hunter that must strike in an instant, because 1 second of hesitation and the prey will be gone. A brood of ducklings swim single file behind their mother through shallow water. Just one drifts a few strokes out of line, accidentally moving closer to the reed edge where a great blue heron is standing and waiting. The heron does not move. It only lowers its neck a fraction more, then suddenly drives its beak downward at the exact moment the duckling swims past. By the time the water has rippled, the duckling is already sitting in the long beak. One upward toss, and the small body slides down the slender throat. Because that beak was not made to hold or tear prey. It was made to swallow whole and fast before the prey has any chance to resist. Ahead, the mother duck still leads the brood swimming on, quietly leaving a gap in the line. And in a forest thousands of kilometers away, a similar tragedy is beginning. High on a branch in the Southeast Asian forest canopy, a small nest sways in the wind. Inside, a brood of chicks jostle each other with open beaks, calling for their parents to bring food. At the base of the tree, a long brown shape begins to climb. Its skin blends almost entirely into the color of the bark, making every movement difficult to detect. Only when the small snake has crawled up close to the nest do the parents return. They spread their wings and dive to block its path, but cannot drive the intruder back. The wide mouth presses into the nest. The nearest chick is taken in that same motion. No time to react or pull away. The weak movements of resistance gradually fade with every swallow. The parent birds still circle anxiously outside, but every effort now reaches only empty air. When the nest falls silent, the long shape on the trunk finally moves away slowly. But on the East African savanna, everything is decided in a single moment. In the open grassland, a wild dog pack has just brought down a gazelle after a long pursuit. It has not even fully collapsed when the entire pack drives in to feed. They do not finish the prey first, not out of cruelty, but because there is no time. The scent of blood has already spread on the wind, and from the horizon, a clan of hyenas has begun moving in. The entire pack swallows large chunks rapidly, barely chewing, then carries what remains away, because only what is inside the belly truly belongs to them. Full, the pack leaves the bare skeleton behind and drives straight back to the den. Hearing the familiar footsteps, the pups that have gone hungry since morning rush out, pushing their muzzles against the adults. The adults regurgitate what they just swallowed and feed the pups. At that moment, the brutality takes on a different name: responsibility to the next generation. The way they hunt may look merciless, but on the savanna, where hunched silhouettes are always ready to steal a kill, eating fast has never been cruelty. It is how to survive. A hyena walks past the skeleton without stopping. It does not need the leftovers, because the prey it brought down itself is still lying there, waiting for it to return. A few hundred meters away, a zebra lies in the grassland after the chase. The entire hyena clan has already surrounded it and begun feeding while it is still alive. Hyenas do not wait for prey to stop breathing before eating. For them, both happen at once. And that is what makes this species regarded as the most brutal of all. Among the most powerful jaws of any carnivore, strong enough to crush large bones, leaving a dry cracking sound that carries across the wind. While the clan feeds from behind, the zebra still tries to raise its head, watching the shapes of its herd fading at the horizon. That is the most heartbreaking image of the grassland. Then the black and white striped head slowly drops into the grass. The weak breathing fades until everything is swallowed by the dry sounds of the hyena clan. That sight is difficult to look at directly, but the hyenas do not concern themselves. Their jaws were never made to know how to wait. The feeding goes on for many minutes, seeming like the extreme point of waiting for the day. But on an island thousands of kilometers away, another hunt has been continuing for many hours. The Komodo dragon is still lying exactly where it was, not moving, not pursuing, only waiting quietly because it knows the prey is slowly consuming its own body from within. In the branches, the young monkey is visibly different from before. It moves less, the injured leg making every shift to another branch more difficult. Inside its body, the toxins from the bite are still spreading silently. Blood unable to clot, blood pressure falling, quietly drawing out the last reserves of the prey's strength. The end is drawing closer. Above, each grip the monkey makes grows more uncertain, swaying, as though just one more gust of wind would bring it down. The young monkey slips from a low branch and falls to the ground. The troop above is frightened, but not one individual dares come down into the open space below. The Komodo moves forward slowly. It no longer needs speed or surprise. The prey has weakened to the point where every movement of resistance is nothing more than a meaningless reflex. The monkey is pinned to the ground, eyes still open to witness everything, but completely powerless. Above, the calls thin out, then dissolve into the silence of the forest. When the last portion has passed down its throat, the dragon moves away and crawls into shade. Its body shifts into a resting state, channeling all energy into digestion. A female monkey looks down from above at the empty base of the tree, pausing for a few beats, then pulling back. The entire troop quickly changes direction, moving away from the area where the event just unfolded. The dragon's body presses flat against the earth, blending into the dull-colored ground until it is nearly impossible to see. Once again, it has become an invisible trap, patiently waiting for the next prey. Across every ecosystem, the hunts have each closed in their own way. Every life that falls does not disappear. It becomes the source of life for another. Nature has no concept of good or evil, no knowledge of compassion or cruelty. It follows only one law: sustain life at any cost. Humans assign emotions to it because we see the world through our own experience. But nature holds no such perspective. It only responds to the conditions of survival. And on that island, the silence is cut through once more. Beneath the leaf litter, a very small movement has just appeared. The beginning of another hunt. The grassland of southern Africa, in the middle of the dry season, earth cracked open in great patches, grass burned flat, and the last water source vanished many weeks ago. But deep beneath the dry surface, a creature still exists. Its body nearly shut down, metabolism drastically reduced to hold on to its last reserves of moisture. Through months without eating or drinking, heart beating slowly, waiting for the familiar signal that will wake the body back to life. The sky to the west begins to darken, black clouds rolling low and carrying a damp wind. Then the first drops of rain fall onto the dry earth and seep into the cracks. The rain grows heavier, softening the parched soil, water pooling in small patches across the cracked surface, carrying moisture and new vitality to the arid land. Then the earth stirs. A crack widens, mud bursts upward, and from below, a large head with amber eyes slowly rises after months of concealment. The African bullfrog has a body as dense as a mass of muscle sunk in mud, jaws occupying nearly half its head, lined with small spike-like teeth. Once prey has entered, there is no escape. A body not built for running, it only needs to lie still and wait for prey to come to it. And after months of starvation, the hunting instinct rises back with full force. Small insects crawl across the wet mud. Another bullfrog lies watching the ground, its body blending almost completely into the mud color. A millipede passes close. The bullfrog's mouth snaps open, tongue fires out, jaws close. From the moment the prey touches down to the moment it disappears takes half a second. 10 minutes. Dozens of insects have vanished. The frog makes use of the brief rainy days to rapidly recover the energy burned away through the entire dry season. But insects are only the appetizer. For them, anything that fits in the mouth is food. And around the newly formed water pools, larger prey gradually appears. A field mouse steps out from the wet grass, searching for seeds along the water's edge, nose down low, completely unaware that death is waiting just ahead. It takes one more step, then the mud explodes. The frog's mouth snaps open, swallowing the mouse whole, locking every struggle down with the sharp teeth lining its mouth. The eyeballs press downward to help push the prey deeper into the throat. The mouse disappears, hind legs kicking weakly, then going still. The belly swells, but the mouth is already ready for the next one. 2 weeks after the rain, the savanna is drying again. Insects and small reptiles are more active, and the bullfrog has left the water pool, sitting motionless like a lump of dry mud on the red earth. A small snake slides past, just 20 centimeters away, tongue flickering, head raised to probe the environment. It is still too small to recognize the danger directly in front of it. The snake glides across the frog's field of view. A strike launches upward, misses. Red earth flies up as the prey attacks and tries to find a way out. The second lunge lands true. Jaws lock onto the head. Spiked teeth drive deep. The snake's body coils and tightens around the frog, but is pressed flat against the ground. The frog begins to swallow. The grassland returns to quiet. The frog, lying still under the warm sun, belly rounded and full, beginning the slow process of digestion after a series of heavy meals under the sunlight slowly returning. The rainy season brings not only food, but the opportunity to breed, when all activity must happen quickly before the last drop of water disappears. At the largest water pool in the area, dozens of males gather, throats swelling as deep calls roll across the savanna, drawing females and staking out control of the breeding center. The strongest male holds the central position where the water is deepest, while others ram, press, and bite each other to win the only chance to continue their lineage. When the female arrives, mating is quick. Eggs are fertilized immediately and cling to moss and grass, beginning a life cycle that must outrace the receding water. Tadpoles hatch, thousands of tiny bodies swimming frantically in the warming pool, eating algae and each other to grow, because their life cycle is shorter than the pool sustaining them. Many weeks pass, the harsh sun returns, the pool shrinks day by day from a wide pond to a small puddle. Tadpoles pack together in a life source that is steadily running out. And in the middle of the shrinking pool, the father frog stays. He looks at the mud ridge dividing two pools of water, then quietly uses his hind legs to break through the mud, channeling his young through to the water on the other side. After hours of digging mud, under the blazing sun, his strength is spent, skin dry, eyes half closed. Yet he has held on to the chance of life for thousands of tadpoles. A smaller frog enters the territory being guarded. But for the bullfrog, a smaller member of its own species can sometimes also become food. The lunge happens quickly and decisively. As the dry season turns back, the instinct to protect and the instinct to hunt exist within the same body. Tadpoles begin to grow legs, some metamorphosing into frogs in fewer than 3 weeks, fingernail-sized, leaving the muddy pool to step into the high-risk world above the waterline. But the moment they reach the bank, the young frogs face hunting birds, snakes around the water's edge, and other adult frogs, because when hungry, this species does not distinguish its own kind. Most do not survive the first week. Of thousands of eggs, only a few will still be alive by the following rainy season. But those that remain will grow into monsters like their father. The pool has dried completely. The last tadpoles have left, and the father frog gazes silently at the empty patch of earth, sitting at the edge of dry mud, sensing the heat of the dry season slowly returning. Then the old instinct wakes. It begins to dig, hind legs driving hard, body sinking gradually into the hardening mud, preparing for the next long sleep. Mud slowly covers the back, the head, then both eyes, leaving behind a water-retaining membrane that gradually encases the body like a survival cocoon for the dry months ahead. The earth cracks open again, grass burns flat under the scorching sun, the water pools vanish entirely, and deep below the dry ground, the bullfrog lies still with a slowing heart, waiting for the next rain. A young frog that survived the rainy season sits near the drying bank. No larger than a coin, it has just caught its first ant. Life starts here. If it survives the first dry season, it will burrow into a mud cocoon like its parents, then emerge after the rains, larger, stronger, with a mouth that grows wider with every hunting season. The hot wind sweeps across the savanna. The cracked, dry earth is completely silent, but deep below, hundreds of bullfrogs lie still inside their own water-retaining membranes. And that is how the African bullfrog survives. The most voracious predator on the savanna is also the one that buries itself in a sleep lasting many months, just to exchange it for a handful of opportunities. Field mice still search for seeds. Grass snakes still hunt, completely unaware that the danger sleeping beneath their feet needs only one rain to open its mouth. The rainy season will return, perhaps soon, perhaps late. But without needing to know the timing, it only needs to feel the first vibration when water touches the earth. The first raindrop will fall, the earth will soften, pools will form, insects will surge, and from beneath the cracks, amber eyes will open again, beginning a new hunting season. But for now, the grassland is still dry and hot, and deep beneath the dark earth, it still lies there, waiting. The ground trembles faintly. Not rain yet, only wind moving through the grass. But sooner or later, the water will return, and it will be here when that happens. Dawn over Africa, first light touches the river surface. Thin mist rises from the still water, covering the sandy bank like an ethereal veil. Along the riverbank, footprints in wet sand tell last night's story. Some came to drink and left. Some species disappeared, never to return. In the distance, a baboon troop approaches the riverbank, then stops on high ground, observing the water below, displaying vigilance mechanisms selected through evolutionary process. This river is both life source and boundary between life and death. For small creatures like the baboon troop, each approach is a survival decision. Baboons are among Africa's most intelligent and fierce primates. Gray-brown fur, elongated face, and good eyesight help maintain high vigilance. Their jaws are fearsome weapons. Canines can reach 8 centimeters long, bite force from 500 to 700 pounds per square inch, enough to tear enemy flesh in an instant. They live in troops from several dozen to over 100 individuals, with clear hierarchical social structure helping maintain order and reduce conflict within the group. Baboons are omnivores, consuming from plants to small animals. Flexible diet helps them adapt effectively to harsh conditions of prolonged dry season. Their notable feature is a sophisticated warning system. Different sounds correspond to each threat, from birds of prey above to predators in bushes. But with dangers underwater, warning signals become limited when forced to cross rivers. Survival pressure forces the troop to choose despite existing risks. The troop leader advances, observing the river surface. In the next few seconds, its choice will directly affect the entire troop's safety. Behind, the entire troop waits silently in tension. Mother baboons clutch their young tightly, as delaying too long can also increase attack risk. The water surface is still, flat, and suspiciously calm. In African river ecosystems, silence often conceals lurking potential dangers. A dark shadow over 4 meters long lies motionless beneath murky water. Only eyes and nose protrude, camouflaged effectively like drifting rotten logs. Nile crocodiles are top ambush predators, with morphology virtually unchanged for millions of years. Their pupils are extremely sensitive to movement. Third eyelid supports underwater observation, helping detect prey precisely within hunting range. Nile crocodile bite force exceeds 3,000 pounds per square inch, enough to crush prey bones. Once jaws have closed, almost no force can make them open. As ambush predators, they can lie motionless for extended periods to conserve energy and only attack when opportunity reaches optimal level. The tactic is very simple but extremely effective. Wait for prey to approach, attack in less than 1 second, and drag underwater to drown. Baboons are well aware of danger, while crocodiles are ready to ambush. The encounter between vigilance and silent strength begins right at this river bend. Finally, the troop leader decides to descend into water, each step cautious. The entire troop immediately follows, maintaining tight formation in this life or death choice. Adult males go first, water rising to their bellies. Behind, females hold young tightly, maintaining high vigilance against sudden attack risk. When the troop reaches midstream, water level rises to adult chests. Young cling tightly to mothers to avoid being swept away. Tension reaches peak. Suddenly, the water surface behind erupts. A crocodile charges with terrifying speed. The baboon troop panics, signals warnings. Formation immediately shatters. Individuals in front rush quickly toward opposite bank, while the rear group turns back. Dispersal breaks troop cohesion, making hunting risk increase. In nature, living in groups helps distribute risk. When separated, solitary individuals quickly become the clearest targets in dangerous environments. The crocodile locks target, not chasing the troop, but focusing on separated individual. This is common hunting tactic, prioritizing weak or slow-moving ones. Crocodile jaws close just centimeters from the baboon. Water splashes high. This individual escapes narrowly, rushing ashore at maximum speed thanks to survival reflexes. On both banks, baboons stand panting. The troop is divided by the deadly water. The first river crossing ends with luck, but not everyone made it to the other side. On the old bank, a mother baboon with young is trapped. She looks across to the other side, where most of the troop has safely gathered. Below the water surface, the crocodile has submerged, restoring initial calm. However, that silence is only concealing danger still lurking below. The mother baboon understands she cannot wait long. Lack of food and troop separation diminishes social standing. She must decide quickly to ensure survival chance. On the other side, the troop cannot wait, begins moving into areas with food. Distance gradually increases, forcing the mother baboon under pressure to act urgently. She descends into water. The young clings tightly to mother's back. Cold water gradually submerges the body. Each step is gambling with fate. Having advanced some distance, she steps slowly. The water surface ahead ripples lightly, then falls silent. Mother baboon is vigilant, eyes scanning along the current. From the right side, the crocodile suddenly lunges up without warning signs. At a speed impossible to react to, its jaws aim straight for the young on her back. teeth sink deep into the young's leg. A piercing cry rings out. Mother baboon grabs her offspring, pulls back, creating a life-and-death tug-of-war in the water. On the bank, the baboon troop scatters. Warning cries ring out continuously, but no one dares enter the water, can only observe from safe distance. Mother baboon resists by instinct, continuously biting, clawing, and jerking. However, her bite force is significantly weaker than the crocodile's, making advantage tilt toward the predator. As the struggle drifts toward shore, the crocodile gradually loses advantage in shallow water. Seizing the rare opportunity, Mother baboon musters strength for one final jump. The young escapes the crocodile's jaws, but in an instant, the crocodile switches targets and locks jaws onto Mother baboon's leg. The young runs ashore, trembling with leg wound. Another baboon pulls it into the troop's center. It survives, but the price paid doesn't belong to it. Underwater, Mother baboon still resists, but the pulling force increasingly tilts toward the predator. Bit by bit, she's drawn away from shallow water. On the bank, cries thin out, then cease completely. The baboon troop helplessly watches, unable to intervene. The outcome is decided and no second miracle occurs. On the water surface, the last ripples vanish. The water continues flowing, reflecting natural law that won't stop operating for losses. The baboon troop leaves the riverbank, quickly reestablishes formation, with the wounded young walking in the troop's center. Life continues despite carrying irreplaceable loss. The young is still too small. It doesn't fully understand what just happened, but survival instinct has deeply carved a life and death experience. In nature, victory sometimes is simply being alive. No heroes or villains, only existence continuing in life cycle. Below the river, the crocodile returns to familiar ambush position. It can fast for many weeks, but still patiently waits for prey. Persistence is its key survival weapon. Life by the water always exists in fragile balance, where action and waiting alternate, creating an endless cycle. In the distance, the baboon troop has found an area with food and gradually restores daily behaviors. But the formation is now missing one member. The young with leg wounds sits beside another female. It will grow up, will learn to survive, and someday will have to face this river once again. In the silence of the African plains, each species holds a role in nature's endless cycle. Life and death aren't opposites, but two parts of the same flow. A place where maps are meaningless because the terrain changes twice a day. And every time the tide ebbs, a new land is revealed, along with everything waiting upon it. Here, humans are merely uninvited guests. Hundreds have entered the Sundarbans and never walked out. The forest does not explain. The forest only remains silent. Before stepping deeper into this journey, if you carry within you a sense of awe for the wild, subscribe now so you don't miss anything ahead. Because what lies ahead is not a nature exploration. It is a confrontation with a land that even the tide does not dare to stay in for too long. If the Sundarbans had a soul, that soul would wear black and orange stripes and swim through salty creeks as if water were never a barrier. This is the Bengal tiger, the only lord who knows he doesn't need to run to kill. Weighing over 220 kilograms with a bite force of more than 450 kilograms, the Bengal tiger can haul prey twice its body weight across flooded mudflats without missing a beat. But the tiger's true role is not that of a destroyer. The tiger is the architect of the Sundarbans, controlling the spotted deer populations, keeping the mangrove vegetation from being grazed to exhaustion. Sundarbans tigers do not hunt like tigers anywhere else. They swim across wide creeks, approaching prey from the water, a direction from which no animal here is on guard. They are also the only tigers in the world that have learned to drink brackish water, adapting to an environment where no other tiger could survive for more than a few days. Only about 100 Bengal tigers remain in the Sundarbans. Rising sea levels are submerging their territory, and no tiger can negotiate with the tide. As the forest sinks, tigers are forced onto smaller islands, closer to villages, closer to humans, and that never ends well for either side. The tiger vanishes into the shadows like a dissipating ripple. The Sundarbans fall silent again, but beneath the water, something more ancient is beginning to stir. If the tiger is the soul of the forest, the saltwater crocodile is the memory of the ocean, the largest of the crocodilian family, born from a time before the earth knew man. Over 6 meters long, weighing more than a ton, the Sundarbans saltwater crocodile is the largest living reptile on Earth, and its bite force can crush steel-hard bone. The crocodile is the monitor of the Sundarbans' water quality. Their leftovers feed decomposing bacteria, enriching the mud, the foundation upon which the entire mangrove ecosystem exists. Saltwater crocodiles do not need to chase. They lie in wait right at the intersection of bank and water, where every creature, sooner or later, must pass to drink. When the tide rises, crocodiles follow the water deep into the forest, approaching prey that never imagined danger could come from within the heart of the mangrove trees. Sundarbans' saltwater crocodiles are being hunted for their skin and meat. Simultaneously, upstream pollution is poisoning the food chain. The apex predator always receives the highest accumulation of toxins. This species once dominated every estuary from India to Australia. Now, only small populations cling to waters that humans have not yet reached. The tide begins to ebb. Narrow creeks reveal mudflats still drenched in water, and upon them, smaller, lighter footprints are moving toward the shore. Amidst the land specialized in darkness and danger, the spotted deer is the only thing that dares to bring light. Shimmering white spots like fallen stars, lost in a labyrinth of roots and mud. Spotted deer have no claws or fangs, no armored scales. Their strength lies elsewhere. A sense of smell that detects a tiger from 300 meters, a speed of 65 kilometers per hour, and the ability to swim across salt creeks without losing their way. The spotted deer is the seeding machine of the Sundarbans. As they eat fruit and move through dozens of creeks daily, They carry mangrove seeds to new mudflats, building the forest with every step they take. Spotted deer live by a collective warning system. One head snaps up. The whole herd stands still. One alarm call. The entire herd scatters in all directions in an instant, without needing to see the enemy. And when a tiger enters a creek to approach from the water, the spotted deer have a distinct reaction. They don't run to the shore, but run straight into the water, swimming to the opposite bank. But the spotted deer are losing their foraging mudflats as the tide rises higher each year. Fewer mudflats mean less food, and a weaker herd is an easier meal for the tiger. As deer numbers drop, tigers are pushed closer to villages for food. A cycle of tragedy where the starting point is not the tiger, not the deer, but us. The spotted deer vanish into the shadows of the trees. The sound of wind through the mangroves replaces all other noise, and the Sundarbans reminds us everything here is connected. But the story of the Sundarbans is not just the story of 3 species. When the tide rises for the second time in a day, an invisible system begins to operate, more complex than any city humans have ever built. Every creek is a corridor. Every mudflat is a restaurant. Every mangrove tree is an apartment floor. And the tide is the manager, deciding who gets to eat, who must wait, and who must run. Tiger, crocodile, spotted deer. No species exists independently. They are bound together by the same breath, the rhythm of the rising and falling tide every 6 hours, without cease, without exception. And at a deeper level of the Sundarbans, where light never reaches, there is another world breathing to its own rhythm, slower, more patient, and more terrifying. The second dawn. The tide ebbs. The mudflats are revealed, wet and exposed. This is the most dangerous time of day in the Sundarbans, when everyone needs to eat and the space for refuge shrinks to zero. The spotted deer herd moves out onto the mudflat to forage. This is when they are most vulnerable. No forest for cover, no water to swim across. Only mud, open space, and a 360-degree view. The tiger was here before the deer even stepped out, not because of luck, but because the Sundarbans tiger memorizes the tidal rhythm like its own hunting map. One deer raises its head, snorts, stands still. The wind shifts, and in that split second, the Sundarbans holds its breath. The entire mudflat stands between 2 possibilities. Nothing happens, or everything happens at once. The tiger does not move. The wind shifts again. The deer lowers its head to continue eating, unaware that the decision of life and death was just made, not by itself, but by the direction of the wind. The crocodile entered the creek before dawn. It lies exactly at the point the deer often use to cross to the opposite bank. This is not a coincidence. This is the accumulated experience of 10 million years of evolution. The herd begins to move toward the creek. The crocodile does not move. The tiger begins to advance slowly from behind. The Sundarbans is setting a trap without walls, only silence. A sound from the opposite bank. The lead deer stops. Then everything breaks loose. Mud splatters, water splashes, and the Sundarbans once again settles everything in its own way. The survivor is not the fastest or the strongest. The survivor is the one who reads the Sundarbans, understanding that danger never comes from one direction, but from all directions at once. And the loser will vanish with the rising tide, leaving no trace, leaving no cry. The Sundarbans keeps no evidence of what has occurred in its darkness. Everything you have just witnessed is not violence. It is a language. The only language the Sundarbans knows how to use to speak to every living creature within it. The tiger keeps the deer from staying too long in one place. The deer help the forest disperse seeds. The crocodile enriches the mud, and the mud feeds the forest. The forest feeds all. This is not a food chain. This is a contract. The Sundarbans is not just a forest. It is a climate shield, absorbing 4 times more carbon than a typical rainforest, protecting the coastlines of tens of millions of people from storms and tsunamis. And when one link disappears, when the tiger is gone, when the crocodile is gone, when the deer are gone, that million-year contract will break. Along with it, the shield protecting millions of people will shatter as well. But the most dangerous creature in the Sundarbans has no fangs or claws. It has no armored scales. It cannot swim across salty creeks. The most dangerous creature arrives with motorboats and electric saws. Rising sea levels caused by emissions from places thousands of kilometers away from the Sundarbans are drowning the forest meter by meter every year. And no tiger, no crocodile can stop the tide that grows ever higher. Each year, the Sundarbans loses an area equivalent to thousands of football fields. And with every piece of forest lost, a part of the coastal protection system for tens of millions of people in Bangladesh and India also disappears. And the price to be paid is not just for nature. Fishermen lose their grounds, farmers lose their land, and the men who enter the forest to gather honey increasingly do not return. When the tiger's roar fades into the forest mist, when the crocodile sinks into the dark creek, when the spotted deer vanish into the shadows, the Sundarbans returns to its primal breath. The remaining question is not what we have discovered. It is, when the tide rises high enough to wipe out this forest, what will we use to shield ourselves? What will we have left when the Sundarbans no longer stands between us and the ocean, when the final shield finally breaks? The Sundarbans is still here, still breathing to the rhythm of the tide, still keeping secrets of what moves in its darkness. But for how much longer is a question only we can answer. If this journey made you look back, not just at the Sundarbans, but at yourself, leave a comment below. The Sundarbans needs more than just people who know it exists. And see you again in the next fierce arenas of survival, where nature doesn't ask if you are ready, and the answer must come before the question even echoes.